No i? No. Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome. Good evening. Good to see you at the beginning, well, in the middle of the week. And now let's do something. Is anyone here? Okay, this should work. This should work. Everything should work. And this works as well. Welcome. Hi, hello. Can you please tell me that everything is okay? Okay. Yes, Victoria. Hello, Victoria. And Halina, and hello, the rest. So today, health. That's the main topic. Not really cooking, but it will be about health in general. Hi. Good. Tomasz Podstawski. Here we go. First, I will show you some bullet points, maybe, some points to consider to stay healthy. And then we will try to transform it into pieces of advice. So I will give you an advice on how to become healthy. You will see. Point number one is, of course, the worst, because we have to move, but it's important. Exercising. I don't like it too much, but that's what I do. And that's what specialists say is enough. A simple walk, like this guy is doing, it's enough to be exercising. It doesn't have to be weightlifting. It doesn't have to be anything that serious, but a simple walk is great. Another one is no sedentary lifestyle. No, this type of lifestyle. And by this, I mean, according to doctors or therapists, sitting is the worst position ever. It's better to walk, of course. It's better to stand on the ground, on your feet, or maybe in bed. But whatever. No sedentary lifestyle. It means, and that's how we usually spend our life. First we work, maybe not everyone, of course not everyone, but we work a lot while sitting down. And then when we relax, for example, we watch movies. So sitting and sitting. And this is called siedzący in Polish, tryb życia, sedentary lifestyle. So just 2 points, it's not too much. I try to walk at least 1 hour a day. In summer, I used to walk at least 2 hours a day. And all weekend, but now it's cold. Another good point, crucial point, is sleep. At least 7 hours. That's the minimum. At least 7 hours. It's not always possible, but at least 7 hours or more. And not too long, of course, but this is a good point. Unplug before bed. Unplug before bed. By unplug, they mean put your phone away. Don't use your phone, or maybe you can use your phone. That's what I read. You can use your phone, but for listening, some music or podcasts, but it shouldn't be too loud, of course. It shouldn't be too loud. The main problem is the screen. My screen is black, but even though my screen is black, still it emits blue light, something that is called blue light. And because of this, our brains think it's day. And our brains, when they go to sleep, they don't like it. They don't like the blue color, the blue light, sorry. So no monitors, to put it shortly. And finally, diet. Good diet. Here's what I found quite recently. There was this grains or vegetables swap. You can swap things, you can swap places. Przerzucić, zamienić. And by grains, probably everyone is familiar with food pyramid. It's a little bit small here, but you know, it comes from, that's the old version. In the old version, this was the most important element of our diet. Grains, like bread here, flour and pasta, anything that comes from grains, zboża. Then vegetables were somewhere in the middle. Then we had, you know, meat, milk and fat and oils and so on. But this is this swap. This one is the old version. And now this is more important. So vegetables, we should eat I forgot English. Vegetables should take the most part of our daily diet. That was terrible, but I hope you understand. So vegetables now are the most important. We should eat as much of them and as many kinds of them as possible. And the grains come second. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, so don't listen to me. This is just English, but that's what I found and that's what I learned. And of course, it's not what I do. And the last part here is drink water, plenty of water. Doesn't have to be just water, but liquids are important. And that's it. And we could finish here, but it would have nothing to do with English because it sounds okay if you want to remember it. You have 3 points and the 2 sub-points in each of them. Easy to remember. But let's make it more beautiful, maybe. How to give advice. And we will use 3, exactly. 3 different ways of giving advice, in which we have 2 other ideas. In 2 of them, we have 2 options, maybe. So the first one is you should. You probably know this. That's pretty simple, but let's revise or let's just maybe learn it for the first time in your lives. You should walk once a day. Powinieneś in Polish. You should walk once a day. Let's do it quickly. We should go to a park. So this is my advice to you, or I want to include you in my activities. We should go to a park. Wonderful. You should not, this one is negative, you should not work so much, of course. People today are overworked, but what can we do? You should not work so much. It's easy to say, it's difficult to do. So nothing exciting here. We, he, she, you, they should or should not plus infinitive. Walk, go, work. Nothing special here. And of course, then we have the rest of the sentence. Beautiful. What about ought to? As you can see, it's ought to. So it's always together. It is. You ought to stretch like this in the morning. Rozciągnąć. Stretch, stretching. In Polish, we say stretching. So you should stretch your muscles and probably other tissues as well. Stretch at the same time. So you ought to stretch in the morning. Or they ought to leave their desks. They sit for too long. They ought to leave their desks. Or you ought not to. Sounds strange, but it's okay. You ought not to sit for so long. It's always ought to or just should. You should walk or you ought to walk once a day. But to is always here. Then we have infinitive as well. Stretch, leave, sit, work, go, walk. But ought to, ought not to. What's the difference? There's a tiny difference. Ought to is a little bit stronger. So, it's not that important, but it is true. Ought to is a little bit stronger. Should, that's my recommendation. You should walk, but I don't care. Oh, we should go to a park, but no, we don't have to. When I say ought to, you don't have so much choice. You better do it, or something wrong can happen. All right, so ought to, a little bit stronger, and it's always ought to, and it's never should to. No. It's should walk, should go, should not sleep with dogs or cats. I don't know. I don't have. Now, maybe something more challenging. This is also an advice, but we use a question. Why don't you? And how about? Why don't you? How about? Question. So question mark. Why don't you go to bed earlier? Why don't you go to bed earlier? So present simple, a suggestion. In Polish, I will give you, maybe you don't, not everyone speaks Polish, but I'll just give you simple translation. Dlaczego nie? A dlaczego nie pójdziesz do łóżka wcześniej? Which means, a może byś poszedł, suggestion, może byś poszedł do łóżka wcześniej. Why don't you do it? How about going to bed earlier? The same sentence, a co powiesz na, or again, a może byś poszedł. Well, with some tenses, not construct phrases or constructions, we cannot translate them word for word, but I'm sure you know about this. Another one. Why don't you switch off your phone? Switch off. Why don't you switch off your phone? It means to turn off. It means to unplug. How about switching off your phone? Co powiesz na to? Why don't you listen to a book? Listen to a book? Exactly. 21st century, we have audiobooks. Much better than scrolling through Instagram or Facebooks or Facebook or other social media. So listen to ebooks. Why don't you listen to a book? How about listening to a book? Can you see it? I'm sure you can. 3 examples, but 2 ways of talking about them. Don't you, don't you, don't you. Why don't you? And then we have infinitive again. Go, switch, listen. However, when you start with how about, then it's always gerund. How about ing? How about going? How about switching off your phone? How about listening to a book? How about doing this? Why don't you do this? Another advice or recommendation. And maybe this one. Well, in fact, it's called second conditional, drugi tryb okres warunkowy. If I were you, though I am not, and I never will be, I would. If I were you, gdybym był tobą, ale nie jestem. Tobą, ale nie jestem. Gdyby babcia miała wąsy, ale nie będzie miała. You know, something impossible. But still, you can give recommendation. If I were you, I would eat more veggies. I avoided using vegetables because when I put vegetables here, vegetables came here, but now veggies also came here as well. Life. But if I were you, I would eat more veggies. It means that this person doesn't eat, or you don't eat too much of them. Eat more. Oh, if I were you, if I were you, I would drink tap water. Tap water. It's what I'm drinking. Woda z kranu, tap water. When people say, oh, water is so expensive, bottled water is so expensive, then I can say, if I were you, I would drink tap water. And the last one, if I were you, I would not eat. So negative sentence. I would not eat, or I wouldn't eat fast food. If I were you, I wouldn't eat fast food. I would not eat. No, let's leave it here. If I were you, I would. Or I wouldn't. The second conditional, drugi okres warunkowy. Oh, there's more. If I were you, I would not eat wood. This is to beavers, for example. But beavers like wood. No, they don't eat wood. They eat those live dishes. So I have a recommendation for beavers. If I were you, I would not eat wood. This is to show you that we have wood here because it rhymes. But it doesn't make any sense for humans. Or maybe it does make sense for humans. Okay, and that's basically it. So let's try to change these pieces of advice, into some sentences. And I believe, let me just check it quickly because it's impossible to check it here. And yes, we will go one by one. You should walk once a day. Much better than just a simple walk. But what do you mean? You should walk once a day. Powinieneś. That's my recommendation, or doctor's recommendation. We ought to go to a park. This one, a little bit stronger. It shows you that maybe you have no choice. There's always some choice, but it is a little bit stronger. But in everyday life, in everyday use, on the streets, it's the same. Sleep. Why don't you go to bed earlier? You can't sleep. You don't have time, enough time to sleep for 7 hours. Well, why don't you go to bed earlier? Because probably you do something else. But this is just an example. Unplug, so important. Unplug before bed. And no, I wanted to show you the same example. Sorry, it's grammar. Why don't you? How about doing something? Why don't you go? How about going to bed earlier? And the last one, diet. Diet. Oh, no. We also have here, sorry. That's the problem when I can't see another slide. Why don't you read a book? How about reading a book? Why don't you do? How about doing? How about reading a book? Oh, that's a good idea. Let's light up the candles and avoid blue light. If I were you, I would eat veggies. And if I were you, I wouldn't drink it because this water is unhealthy. Or this water is polluted or contaminated. You can be sick. So be careful. And if I were you, I would ask some questions. Let's leave it here. This is the end, ladies and gentlemen. You could ask some questions. But remember about these. Oh, I also read while I was preparing this, because this is so popular. Everyone knows about sleeping, about eating, and about exercising. Of course, I also read that it is important to stay healthy. It is important to have good relationships in your lives. And this includes, partner, but also me and my family, and also me and myself. You should have a good relationship with yourself. But come on, we all know that not everything is possible. Some people can have good relationships and they hate exercising. Or some people love exercising and spend all of their time at the gym. Well, life ain't easy, but it is. Thank you. The end. Any questions? How does that work? I have to, if I find them. Here we go. Did you find this webinar useful? What do you think? You feel healthier? And number 2, would you like to participate in similar event in the future? Oh. Good. The end. Are there any questions? If there aren't, I would also like to recommend you these websites, but not today, it's time to go to bed and avoid blue light from your screens. But yes, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and maybe Instagram, and the other one, and Snapchat. Not Snapchat, and TikTok. Okay, ladies and gents, good night. Have a wonderful end of the week and the weekend, and I will see you who knows when. All right, bye-bye, good night, take care, stay healthy, bye. Thank you very much. Okay, I was afraid that I was talking to myself, but now I can see people are still active. Goodbye, good night, goodbye.